Hi there, this is Sean. In this video, we're discussing 100 Days, written by Alice Pung. It's been longlisted for the Miles Franklin Literary Award. This is the book. I am trying to go through the entire long list for this award. I want to read each book just to see what I think, because many of these books I wouldn't have read otherwise, and it is opening my eyes up to new authors and new voices. This is the second book that will go up on my channel. Let's talk about the book now. The plot for this book isn't very complex at all, but does have a pretty good impact. Basically, it's about a young girl. She's in her teens. She's got a mother who's very controlling, very overbearing, and she's suffocating a bit just in her life, and she's trying to break free. Do her choices, when she breaks free, give her the freedom she wants, or will it confine her more? And we find out as we go through this novel that she makes really bad choices, and she makes those bad choices because of the mother being so controlling and overbearing. She's a bit naive in life, it seems, and she makes bad choices and they get her into more trouble. So the main character, the young girl's name is Karuna. In this novel, we get her history from when she was a child as well. So we see her as a child. Her parents were married. They weren't very happily married. They were always arguing. And she witnesses that all the time through her childhood. Through her childhood, we have these regular motifs that go on. Her father is very strong, very caring and loving, and gives her presents, and he's the one that organises birthday parties for her and activities for her. Her mother is very controlling, overbearing right from the start, argumentative, always yelling at her or her father, stopping her from doing activities, trying to protect her from even going out and getting dirty, she doesn't want to get hurt and all those sorts of things. So being a very overprotective and overbearing mother right from the get-go. Then we have the parents splitting up and divorcing, and she then lives with her mother, and they move to a council flat, and it's a very small flat. Then the mother becomes more overbearing and more demanding and more controlling, and she seems to care more about Karuna appearing nice to the world rather than helping Karuna develop her own sense of self and her own confidence and letting her do things and get out there in the world and experience things. It's all about appearance, and it seems to be about identity as well. So her mother comes from a different culture, from a different country, and it's all about how in that culture people are perceived as well, and that comes through in the novel as well, the mother's beliefs. And we see that as Karuna makes a bad decision and becomes pregnant. And she's only, I think, 15 or 16 at the time when she falls pregnant. From the pregnancy, that whole confinement of Karuna just increases. So, and the mother's anger towards Karuna also increases. The mother's always saying to her, you ruined my life. Look at you. I've worked my finger to the bone for you. I'm a slave for you. You do nothing. And all that goes through the novel as well. So she's always yelling at her, belittling her, not treating her very well. And that wrecks Karuna's confidence and self-esteem and sense of self and self-worth and all those type of things that are very important for a young person. The 100 days is a period in her pregnancy and when she gives birth to the child as well, where the mother confines her, shuts her in the apartment basically, locks the door when she leaves. And there are times where it's, 40 degrees outside and it's scorching inside. And there's one scene where I can't remember how many days it is after she's given birth, but it's so hot in the flat that they live in that her and her baby are suffering to the point where she fears that they're going to die. So that's how extreme the confinement is and extreme the situation is for our main character, Karuna. So while we have this confinement going on and, it seems like Karuna has these walls that keep pressing in on her and her world's getting smaller and smaller and she feels like she's going to vanish into nothing she's going to lose everything and become nobody. She finds an inner strength. So I think this book is also about finding your inner strength and finding yourself. And she struggles and she gets there and she finds a way to fight back. And as we progress in this book, she starts arguing with her mother, and little by little she starts getting a bit of power. And I find that the book is about getting that little spark and holding on to it and becoming who you are, never letting go of who you should be. I think that's what the book's about as well. And towards the end, we see a shift. We see a shift and we see the mother and daughter become more equals. And I think that's a very powerful message in the book as well. It's also about the fact that we have Karuna, the young girl who's born and grows up in Australia. The mother didn't. So we've got a bit of cultural difference going on as well. So we've got a bit of misunderstanding because of that between mother and daughter. And it's also about just breaching that divide and meeting a halfway point. And then about Karuna understanding that while her mother is overbearing and confines her and seems to be just awful sometimes, she's not doing it out of a place of malice. She's doing it out of a place of fear. She wants the best for her daughter. She wants to protect her daughter. And because she's seen when she was growing up that people were often abused and they need to be protected, and they weren't protected all the time by their adults. And she wants to protect her daughter from the world. Karuna comes to that realization as well in this book. So for the very short book that it is, there's a lot of complexity in it and a lot of themes in it. That's what I found anyway. The book focuses mainly on two characters, Karuna and her mother. And during the book, her mother's referred to as Grandma. Two words, Grand and Ma, spelled M-A-R. So we'll talk about Karuna first. Karuna is an interesting character because she wants to rebel. She doesn't know how to. She's very confined in her life, in her teenage years. But when she does rebel, she goes about it the wrong way and she gets herself into more trouble and then into more confinement. But she also learns as she goes along that she can still find her strength and be herself. And she can still get by and be confident. She gets her confidence back and she finds herself. But she also becomes to understand that her mother's not all bad. There's a reason that her mother's like this. And it's like this light bulb goes off for her and she realizes why her mother's like this. And I think that's part of the reason why their relationship then starts to heal. So I think, in a way, even though Karuna is naive in a way, in some of the things she does, towards the end of the novel, she has these, light bulb moments that make her seem like she's stepped into adulthood. And I think that's great character growth in this book. Grandma, Karuna's mother, she's quite interesting. She's very overbearing, but as a personality, she's larger than life. She's quite big as a personality. We see in the novel that she gives her all to put a roof over Karuna's head to feed her. She's everything. She works two jobs. She's doing everything she can to keep Karuna safe and well. But she goes about things in the wrong way as well, by confining Karuna to the flat, by always demeaning her in certain ways and yelling at her for different things and making her feel unloved and unwanted at certain times. She may not realize that's what's happening. That's what she does in her actions. We see that she's doing things because she thinks she's doing the right thing. She thinks that's the way to do things, but it may not be. And she starts to learn that as the novel goes on, and she learns that because Karuna gets a bit more confidence and she's able to confront her mother more, Grandma more, and we see as that happens, Karuna's mother changes a bit. So that's her character growth. So these two characters do grow from where they were at the start to the end. I think it's special that these two characters grow in that way and they reach a certain middle point, middle ground with each other, and they both become better characters for it. Despite there being many different themes in this novel, some more prominent and some more hidden, despite the fact that the characters do have some great character growth, and it's not always obvious what that character growth is, but it is there. And Karuna is an okay character. She's not a brilliant character. She's a good character. I do rate this a 3 out of 5. The rating is because of the writing style more than anything else. I wasn't a big fan of the writing style. I found it a bit simplistic for the novel. I'm not sure if this is a young adult novel or not. It felt like it was for some of the read, then it felt like it wasn't for some of the read, just for some of the themes going on. And the themes seem to be, quite adult, more than young adult. I will be trying to read all the books in the Miles Franklin Literary Award long list. If you don't want to miss out on those reviews, check out my channel and subscribe.